Division I men's basketball tournament regional final in Philadelphia. Today's format is a group interview for the first 20 minutes with the head coach and starters. We'll release the players to the breakout rooms after those 20 minutes, and head coach Hubert Davis will remain for another 20 minutes. We have Hubert Davis and starters Armando Baycott, Brady Manick, Leaky Black, Caleb Love, and RJ Davis. Questions?
C.L. Brown with the Raleigh News and Observer. This is for Coach Davis. Hubert, I was wondering if, King and JR played these guys 3 times during the year, if you've had any communications with them about, just trying to get whatever background or scouting on St. Peter's.
I haven't had any conversations with them yet, but, King and JR are 2 of my best friends, and our relationship when we played and our enjoyment of playing together, but not just playing together as teammates, but just our relationship. And I'm sure that we'll have conversations. Walker Miller, who played for King this year, stopped by the team meal last night, and it was just great being able to see him and give him a hug. And even though that he had a terrific year for Monmouth this year, he's always a part of Carolina basketball.
Andrew.
For RJ and Caleb, this is Andrew Jones, Tar Heel Illustrated. What you guys know about St. Peter's right now, what kind of jumps out at you about some of the peskiness of them on defense, and also the way they kind of have a lot of connection in the backcourt where they're able to find each other? Even when they're trapped, they can still find each other.
I mean, I haven't really I saw highlights of them play against, was it Kentucky? I mean, I haven't really, we just played the game last night, so I mean, they're a good team, so yeah.
Yeah, just to piggyback on RJ, same thing. We seen bits and pieces, but that's why we got practice today. We'll go over them today.
This is Eddie Pels from AP. I wanted to ask Armando and then maybe Coach the same thing. Everybody in our world loves to talk about seeding. 8, there are 15. You're already laughing. Do those mean, especially now, do they mean even less these days than maybe they did 10 years ago? Did they ever mean anything?
Well, when the tournament started, that was one of the first things Coach told us, that he never looked at seeding and he never really cared. And I mean, it's kind of funny how it kind of all played out now with 8 and a 15 playing against each other, because that's like literally what he told us, that he never cared about seeding. He never once could remember any seed he was while he was here. So, yeah.
No, I did. I had him over to the house, selection show on that Sunday to find out whom we were playing in the bracket and the region that we were going to be in. And the first thing that I told them is that I've never cared about seedings. The 4 years that I was at Carolina, I could not remember what seed we were. I just knew that we were in the NCAA tournament and we were going against teams that were really good basketball teams that in any given day that they can beat you if you don't play your best. And so that was my communication to them. It really doesn't matter. St. Peter's is an unbelievable team. They have an outstanding coaching staff, and it's a team that has won 10 games in a row, and they're playing with a confidence and a toughness that has put them in the Final 8. And, at the end of the day, they've beaten 2 teams that we've lost to. And so, as I said before, tomorrow will be our toughest game of the season, but we're very excited about the challenge of playing an excellent St. Peter's team.
Pat Welter, WRAL Sports. Questions for Hubert. Hubert, you've played on and coached some special teams over here. Is there a unifying quality that those teams have had, and does this team have it?
Yeah, I think that you have to have a togetherness and a sense of health within the locker room, a part of the team, built on relationships, built on leadership. One of the things that, throughout the course of the year, I felt like we needed an extension of the coaching staff. We needed a leader. And one of the beautiful things that has emerged this year is not just been one leader, it's been a host of leaders. You know, it's just, you know, Leaky brings something to the table, Brady, RJ, Caleb, Armando, you know, Kerwin, Puff, Dontrez, everybody has brought together their piece, and collectively it has brought together a togetherness about this team that has put us in a position to play our best basketball over the last 2 months, and it's been really fun to see.
Hubert, Pete Thamel from ESPN. When you were talking about St. Peter's late last night, you mentioned connected and connectivity. It's kind of become like the modern basketball complement. I'm wondering if you can just speak. I'm sure you haven't been able to study them that much at this point, a day later, but just give a little sense of what that term means these days and why that is such a compliment.
That everybody's on the same page. You know, they're connected in terms of their preparation, their practice, and their play. They understand where they want to go and how to get there. They've identified what allows them to be successful, and everybody understands that, and everyone has accepted their role in a place where they feel like it's beneficial for them to be the best team that they can be. And so in terms of being connected, that's what I mean. It's like everybody's locked in on the same page, and they understand where they want to go and what they want to do.
Reminder that we'll be releasing the players in a few minutes, so please direct some questions to the players. Go ahead.
This question's for Armando, Sam Marsdale, 24/7 Sports. Despite a massive size disadvantage, St. Peter's forced 5 turnovers on Zach Edey. They never let him really dominate and take control. Have you gotten a chance to see some of the looks they gave him in the post?
No, not really. I haven't really got that much of a chance, but I mean, I know they got good bigs, and I mean, they got great guards too that's good at digging and I mean creating turnovers, and that kind of been what they've been hanging their hat on. So I know I definitely got to be smart down there and just be alert and aware of everything around me.
Ross Martin, Inside Carolina. Caleb, saw a lot of tweets and a lot of crazy things since yesterday. It's kind of on a national stage. What's it been like since yesterday for you after the big game?
You know, it was exciting to see, you know, but this morning when I woke up, you know, I'm focused on the next game. Had my fun last night, you know. We got the win. That's all I care about, and, you know, we on to the next.
Go ahead, right here.
Tristan Freeman from Best in Brackets. For Leaky, there's a offensive contrast with you guys and St. Peter's. You guys have 4 players that can go for 25 or any night. St. Peter's doesn't have anyone on the season averages over 12. Can you talk about how important team defense is going to be, knowing that these guys can play 10 to 12 guys on any given night, and how important it is to make sure that collectively they don't beat you?
Yeah, I feel like team defense has always been important, you know, regardless of who we're playing. I feel like they're a hard-nosed team. You know, they play really hard, regardless of personnel. You know, on a stage like this, they're gonna have confidence. If the personnel says like they can't shoot a stage like this, you know, their confidence is high. I feel like we're gonna have to, you know, take away the easy looks for them, kind of thing. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I kind of forgot the question. I was zoned out.
Sorry. Go ahead.
CL Brown again. This question is for Brady, RJ, and Armando, kind of continuation from the last time I asked it. But when do you feel like, if each one of you could tell me what you felt like the turning point of this season was?
Brady, can you start?
I would say the pick game. We lost a game that we probably shouldn't have lost, and ever since then we've been playing unbelievable. We've won tough games. We've won games that were close late. We won in overtime several times. I mean, we've had a really good run since that game.
RJ?
Well, Brady said.
Armando?
Well, RJ said.
Hi, Ty Dauber, City of Basketball Love. This is for really any of you guys, but first game yesterday, crowd's really into it, and then coming down the stretch for you guys, crowd's really into it. A lot of St. Peter's supporters, a lot of UNC supporters. So what do you think the atmosphere might be like tomorrow for this big matchup?
I think it'll be pretty intense and packed. UNC, we haven't been back in this position in like 4 years, something like that, and St. Peter's, they've never been in this position, so I think it'll be a great turnout from both ends. I know St. Peter's is kind of close to them, and UNC, we got a huge fan base all around, so we're excited.
Ali Berubi, Pix 11 Sports. RJ, this one's for you. St. Peter's has talked a lot about New York, New Jersey pride, playing for something, being so close to home. What's different about basketball players from that area? I know you grew up around there.
I just think we play with a grit and toughness. A lot of people say like New York, guards are down, but it's evident through St. Peter's and myself. We just play with like a chip on our shoulder. We come in with a sense of confidence that no one's better than us, and we're gonna compete at the highest level.
Trayvon Miles, ABC 11 in Raleigh. Hubert, this question's for you, and I'm sure the guys will chip in as well. Speaking of Twitter, we saw you do the gritty last night. I wanted to know.
I don't know if that was it.
When you acquired those dance moves and what the guys thought about your performance last night in locker room.
A+. Yeah, that was.
He just wants me to call a play for him. Yeah. I'm gonna throw the ball to you.
Terrence Hatchett, Carolina Blitz. This is for Caleb. You're from the St. Louis area. You got shouted out by Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum. They're also from the area. What's it like to have guys you probably looked up to growing up just give you that love on Twitter last night?
It's great, those like my big brothers. I seen them, I watched them growing up, especially Jason, and I'm kind of close with him. And then I played for Brad Bill Elite, so I played for Brad's program. So, just having them as like role models and like big brothers is great to have.
Pat Welter, WRAL Sports. Hubert, us in the media and fans already talking about potential Duke rematch. How do you make sure that doesn't slip into anything, affect anything that's coming up this next game?
Well, one of the things that I've talked to the guys a lot is I've given them this Bible verse, Proverbs 4:25, and it's to keep your eyes straight ahead, ignore all sideshow distractions. And so what's straight ahead is St. Peter's. And so our full attention is on our preparation, our practice, and making sure that we play our best against a great St. Peter's team.
Andrew.
Leaky and Armando, CL was asking about the turning point, but I'd like to know what you guys think was the moment when you learned and realized that you had moved on from some of the things that were kind of holding you guys back before with the inconsistency, when you realized, okay, we're a different team now.
For me, I feel like it was the Syracuse game. We, dug deep in that win out. We put that win out at home. I feel like that was a big turning point for me.
For me, I say the Virginia Tech game, just going over and winning at Virginia Tech, it's almost impossible. And I think our toughness down there was great for us. And then I think that's when we, realized, like, yeah, we're going to be pretty good.
Greg Barnes, Inside Carolina. This is for Brady and Armando. Kind of along those lines, Coach was talking about connectivity and kind of the chemistry aspect. When did that really set in for this group and recently, where you can really play off of one another, both on and off the court?
Yeah, I would say Armando's he's that guy down low. He's the piece we need, and when he's down there posting up, causing havoc, just drawing the defenders, it helps the four other ones out there on the floor with him. And he's just a big part down low, and the team's got to focus a lot on him. And if they don't, they leave someone else open.
I'd say probably like the Virginia Tech game too, because we all, I think, just as a team, just played great offensively, and we kind of just trusted each other in big moments. I mean, Caleb and RJ was huge, and then Brady made some big shots, and then Leaky defensively too, and me. And I feel like we all just kind of came together, and we just saw like how good we can be when we all come together and work with each other.
Dan.
Dan Gelson, the Associated Press. Questions for Hewitt. With North Carolina coaches, there's usually the connection with all the other North Carolina coaches that have come before that you've played with. But what was it like for you to go from Carolina to New York and play for a guy like Pat Riley? And you take anything from him that you use today? He seems to be, the successes were the same, but his approaches seem different than maybe some of the
No, I love my time with the Knicks. I couldn't have gone into the NBA and have played for better coaches at New York with Coach Riley and Coach Van Gundy and Coach Nelson. The thing that I learned from Coach Riley is, how hard you have to prepare to put yourself in a position to possibly be successful. And he taught me how to be a pro, how to practice, how to compete on every play, shoot around, practice games. And he really put me in a position to be the best player that I could be in the NBA. And he's one of my favorite coaches that I've ever played for. And I think about my time with him as a player and use parts of what he taught me to try to teach these guys every day.
Do we have any more questions for the student athletes? One in the back.
Allie Ruby again, Pix 11. For any of the players, so much is being made of St. Peter's being this great Cinderella story, and it's easy to get lost in that narrative. Are you guys sick of hearing it?
I mean, they're a great team. They're here for a reason. We don't really pay attention to like Cinderella or the seeding or whatever. We're gonna treat them as such. They're another team that's in our way, and so we're gonna come out and stick to the game plan and do what we got to do to get the win.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, gentlemen. You're released. It will be once they get to the breakout rooms, there will be a 15-minute period with the breakout rooms. Again, it's down the hallway near the media dining room. More questions for Coach?
Hubert, Pete Thamel from ESPN. Adversity tends to shape growth a lot of times. And so you, as a first-time head coach, I wonder if you could walk me through a little bit of how you changed and adjusted and grew throughout this season and how you toggle the balance of great old Carolina, and all the success it's had with wanting to put your own spin on it. I imagine that's a delicate balance.
Well, I've always said that, the foundation of Carolina basketball will never go away as long as I am here. And the reason being is because it's been tried and tested and proven successful, and I've gone through it and I believe in it. I've always also felt like, even though that I believe in what Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge and Coach Williams, I have to do this with my own personality and in my own shoes. And so that's what I have done. And there's been some tweaks, some pivots, some changes in how we do things on and off the court. But all of those tweaks and pivots and changes have been consistent with the foundation of what this place is all about. And it's about relationships. It's about family. It's about playing hard and playing smart and playing together.
Down here.
Austin Petalillo, Trend Philly Hoops. Hubert, I want you to talk about your seniors for a second here. They've been through hell and back, given everything that's happened the last 2 years. For them to be in this leadership position and for you guys to be one win away from the Final Four, what does that say about them?
Well, I'm just, I said this last night. There's, for me, has always been this year a desperation for them to be successful. I just want things to work out for them. And I want them to experience the things that I was able to experience here at Carolina that I still remember at 51 years old. And over the last couple of years, they haven't had much to be able to remember in a positive way. And for them to be at this stage, I mean, going into the NCAA tournament, only Leakey had won an NCAA tournament game. I think Brady has won one, and nobody had advanced past the second round. And so to find that all of these guys, not just the seniors, are in the Elite Eight, it's a place of enjoyment for me to see them experience this, to see them come into this interview room and to be celebrated and supported, encouraged and noticed. And that's exactly what I wanted from this year, and I'm glad that they're able to experience it.
Steve.
Hubert, hi, Steve Politi from NJ.com. I'm curious, as a basketball fan, have you appreciated what St. Peter's has done in this tournament? And taking it one step further, do you appreciate it more because you know they're doing it with less resources, less money, less facilities?
I appreciate all the NCAA tournament teams. I mean, just to get to this tournament, you have to have a level of success. And I'm proud of every team that participates in this NCAA tournament. It's not just us. It's not just St. Peter's. There's so much that goes behind the scenes to just get through a season, and to be in this tournament and to be successful and to have a run like us and like St. Peter's is beautiful to watch, and it's beautiful to experience. And we're in a place of thankfulness. We were all talking last night and this morning, and we're in a place of thankfulness and humbleness and appreciation for where we are. This doesn't happen all the time, and we're just enjoying the moment.
Over here.
Greg Barnes in South Carolina. Hubert, what is unique, if anything, about what St. Peter's does defensively, and why have they been so effective on that end of the court?
Well, I mean, they're good defensively because they've got, one, good individual defenders, and number two, they're tied together team defense-wise. In terms of size, they don't have as much size as we do, but they do an excellent job at getting steals and deflections. They do a really good job of changing defenses to keep you off balance on the offensive end. And I also think what plays a part is, they're very methodical on the offensive end. And at times, I think teams that when they play them, because you're playing defense 20, 25 seconds every possession, by the time you get on the offensive end, you're just so excited. You want to shoot the ball, and you necessarily maybe don't get the best shot that you want. The great benefit for us is we have played against terrific teams like Virginia Tech, that are methodical in their offensive approach, where you have to stay disciplined enough to play 20, 25, maybe 30 seconds every possession, and then have the discipline to be able to get the shot that you want on the offensive end. And so I'm thankful for those experiences in the ACC that I feel like will help us and prepare us against a really good St. Peter's team.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris Murray from the Philadelphia Sunday Sun. You mentioned earlier that, you took a lot from Pat Riley, but I was wondering, having been around Coach Smith, your uncle's Walter Davis, what's the most important thing you've learned? Or is there any type of wisdom that they've given you that you have taken to this moment? Or is there anything that they told you that you didn't necessarily believe, but now you're seeing it now?
No, I mean, there's a number of things that I learned from my time with, Coach Smith. To name one is, he gave me a chance and an opportunity, and that's the foundation of who I am. I wasn't a McDonald's All-American, so, you want to talk about, St. Peter's, kids having a chip on their shoulder. I know what that feels like. I had 3 scholarship offers, and Coach Smith told me not to come to Carolina because he didn't think I was good enough, fast enough, athletic enough to be able to play at that level. And I just asked him, hey, could you give me an opportunity and a chance, not only to play there, but also get an education there. And I didn't know it was going to turn out like it did, but we wouldn't know how it would turn out unless you gave me a chance and an opportunity. And so that's the foundation piece for me. I always tell the players, whoever plays for me, you will get an opportunity and a chance. And I don't know when it'll be, where, how, and the manner in which it'll come, but you will have an opportunity, and that's one of the many things that I learned from Coach Smith.
Back here.
Cole Nowak, Philly Sports Digest. Coach, how valuable do you believe the 9 years prior to this, being underneath Coach Williams, led you to be successful in your first season?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, just having a front row seat to see how Coach Williams does everything, making decisions, putting together practice plans, relationships with players, personnel, recruiting. I mean, for 9 years, I got a chance to just watch the greatest coach that I've ever been around. And then also, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Carolina is, I think it's the only school in the Power 5 that has a JV program. And for 7 of the 9 years, I was the JV coach. And so obviously it's on a much lesser scale, but I did have to go through practice. We had games with substitutions. In a lot less way, I had to make decisions. And I think that's the biggest difference between being an assistant and a head coach. As an assistant, you're always making suggestions, and as a head coach, you're always making decisions.
David in the back.
Hubert, David Teal from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. You alluded last week to the last 11 and a half months just being kind of a blur, and you haven't had time to really reflect. How long did it take you to get your feet planted, so to speak, and is there anything about the past 11 and a half months that has surprised you?
Well, you know, as soon as I took the job, my feet were planted, and the reason being is two things. Number one, I love basketball, you know, and so I'm doing something that I have done pretty much my entire life. And so, as I said before, this isn't a job for me. This is missionary work. Puts me in a position to be able to serve and to be able to help out all of these players on and off the court and in the classroom so that they can be successful and they can be the best that they can be. The second part is I'm doing it at an institution that I've loved my entire life. You know, I just remember at 4 years old coming to see my uncle play when he was an All-American in North Carolina and just wanting to be a part of the program. So every day I'm doing something that I love at the place that I've always loved my entire life. And so even when I took the job, my feet were planted because I was in a place where I wanted to be.
Eddie.
Hey, Coach, Eddie Pels with AP, big picture one, but now that we're 8, 9, 10 months into NIL, and we got a ways to go, it seems like, but what are your impressions and where does that need to go to be good?
Well, you know, one of the things, first of all, I'm glad that our players and other student athletes get a chance to financially benefit off their likeness. I have always felt like that is something that needed to change. You know, one of the things that I told the guys at the beginning of the year when all this NIL stuff came up, I gave them an example. I told them you got to check 3 boxes. And I said, you know, number one, you have to be in the right like environment. And I said, you're at the University of North Carolina. There's other people at our level, but there's nobody higher than us. So I said, you can check that box. I said, number 2 is you got to play well. I said, in order to get any type of NIL deal, you personally are going to have to play well. And then I said, the last thing, and this is the most important thing, is your team is going to have to play well. I said, when I was with the New York Knicks, you didn't call it NIL, but when I was with the Knicks, I had a lot of NIL deals because I was in New York City. I played well while I was there, and we were really good while I was there. And then I got traded to the Toronto Raptors, and that's an unbelievable organization. But at the time, from a record basketball standpoint, it was young, we were struggling. All of those NIL deals went down the hill because I didn't play well there, and we weren't very good. And so I said, you got to put those things in perspective and be able to check all 3 of those boxes. And if you do that, the NIL deals will come. And so that's always been my communication to them.
Allie Berube, ABC 27. We covered Jeff Lebo in high school, my station did. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, we have footage from the 80s that I love dearly. But when you decide to bring him into the program, he has so much head coaching experience. What's that relationship like? Why was he an essential hire for you in your first season?
Well, first of all, we're great friends. He was a senior my freshman year, and so he was the one that I watched and followed and how to do things. And I couldn't have asked for a better senior to mimic, to model, to learn from, because he did everything at the highest level, whether it was on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. And we just became instantly friends, and we've been great friends since then. And, you know, when I took the job, I just had to have somebody on my staff that had been there before, not necessarily in North Carolina, but has been in a position to make decisions. I've always felt like Jeff, his ability to connect with players, his knowledge of the game, there's nobody better than him, his passion for this place. And when I took the job, he was the first person that I called.
Steve?
Another blast from the past, Hubert, but when most Carolina fans think of Jersey City, they might think of Michael Corrin. I'm curious about your recollections of him as a player and around your uncle, and also if you were to tell him should he root for his family or root for his city, what would you tell him?
Well, root for Carolina, but you know, hanging in my office, I have a picture of my uncle and Michael Corrin in my office, and my uncle has his arm around Michael Corrin and he's crying, and it was right after the 1977 championship against Marquette, and I remember that game, and they were up late, and Marquette ended up winning. And my uncle had a broken finger, and Coach Phil Ford had a hyperextended elbow, and Tom Ligard was out of the game because he had torn his ACL, and John Kuster was stepping in and playing terrific, and I felt like they should have won the championship. But I have a picture in my office with my uncle's arm around Michael Corrin, and I've known him for a number of years, and not only was he a great player at Carolina and in the NBA, but he's a great coach and a terrific person.
Why that picture? It seemed like that would be a bad memory after a loss.
I don't necessarily think about the loss. I think about, here's my uncle as a senior, has his arm around a freshman, and the togetherness that team had. And it brings me back to what I want these guys to have. It doesn't matter what class you are. We're a part of Carolina basketball, and we're all a family. We're all in this together. And even though it was a loss, it brings back to me what this place is all about.
Yeah, here, Bill Plaschke, Los Angeles Times. I apologize if this has already been asked. This match is being portrayed as David versus Goliath again, but is being Goliath have its own pressures? Is it almost as hard to be Goliath as it is to be David?
I don't consider us David. I don't consider us Goliath. I consider us North Carolina and them St. Peter's. As I said before, I don't look at seeds. Seeds mean absolutely nothing to me. In the NCAA tournament, you have teams that are successful and at any given day can win any game. St. Peter's has beaten two opponents in the NCAA tournament, Purdue and Kentucky, that beat us. They have our full attention, and rightfully so. They're a terrific basketball team. They're playing extremely well, and they have embodied the personality of their coach, and they have a passion and a hope and a desire that has put them in this position. And we have that passion and that desire as well. And we're excited about the challenge of playing a really good St. Peter's team.
We have time for one more.
Hey, Coach. Cole Nowak, Philly Sports Digest again. You keep referencing the connectiveness and togetherness, and I just want to know, there was a moment this year that you feel like the flip switched as the team camaraderie really just clicked, or was it a growing process, or do you feel like from the beginning of the season you guys have always just been one?
You know, it was interesting to hear their answers, and I felt like there were different answers. Like some said after the Pittsburgh game that we lost at home. Some say, you know, it was Virginia Tech, us winning on the road. And I'm not saying that's not true. I believe that, but I also believe that what has allowed us to get to this point has been time. You know, this has been a year of newness. New head coach, new coaching staff, you know, 3 new players, transfers, 2 new freshmen, some tweaks, pivots, changes in our style, both offensively and defensively. I just think it's shared experiences over time. And I know that everybody wants everything to fit perfectly in November and December, and it just takes time. And I just felt like the shared experiences and the time that we've spent on and off the court has allowed us to grow together, to understand each other, to accept each other, to see the gifts and talents that all of us, different gifts and talents that we all bring to the table that allow us to collectively be the best that we can be. And we're settled now. We're in a place of, you know, togetherness because of time shared together. And I just really feel like that's the biggest thing that has allowed us to be at our best right now.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank
Best
you.
of luck tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Our next